Hello friends, welcome to another video on inheritance in Java. We also discuss interview questions from this topic. I hope you will enjoy this video. Please watch other videos in this channel to get a deep understanding of Java language. Please subscribe and like this channel if you like this video. Also, please click on bell icon to get notifications. Without further ado, let's start. Let's start with the first question. What is inheritance? Inheritance is actually the capability of a class to derive the properties and characteristics from another class is called inheritance. So let's start with a simple example. Suppose this is a class father and the class child extends father. So this extends keyword is one of the keyword used for inheritance in Java. That means child is a child extends or child inherits properties and behaviors from father. So this father is having a property called complexion as fair, and you can see there is no other properties being declared in child. So I am creating a child object in the main class and I am printing the complexion of the child property child class. And even though it is not declared in the child, it has acquired the father's property and it will print the father's complexion in the output. So when I run this program, it has printed as fair. That means the child is acquired father's property. This capability is known as inheritance. Let's move to the next question. How to implement inheritance? So there are two ways to do that, using extends keywords and using implements keywords. So let's look at this example. Child extends father. So a extends keyword is used for inheriting another class, and implements is used for inheriting an interface. So that means child is having all the properties and behaviors declared in father class, and it also implements interface swim. Implements keyword helps developer to multiple inheritance. Extends can be followed with only one class, but implements can be followed by several other interfaces. It can be another swim, comma, run, etc. Of course, this has to be declared. Having said that, let's move to the next question. This is very important question. Different type of inheritance. Okay, there are 5 types: single inheritance, multiple, hierarchical, hybrid, and multiple inheritance. And this is multi-level inheritance. Okay, single inheritance is like as in this example. Let me remove this one. So the child extends father. This is an example of single inheritance where it inherited properties of one single class father. And multi-level inheritance is simple actually. It is one class extends father. Here this is an example where child extends father class and the grandchild extends child class. Like this, it forms a chain of inheritance. This is called, you can see multiple levels are there. This is called multi-level inheritance. Let's move to the next topic, like hierarchical inheritance. The given code shows an example of hierarchical. For example, here we have son class extends father class, and similarly a daughter class also extends father class. That means son and daughter, two different classes extending the same parent class called father. This type of inheritance is known as hierarchical. Talking about hybrid inheritance, so it is a combination of all the above mentioned inheritance like single, multi-level, and hierarchical. So let's have different combination like single, multi-level plus this combination does not make any sense, so we can ignore this one. And single plus hierarchical or multi-level plus hierarchical or any combination can be the name itself says it's a hybrid. It's a combination of any other inheritance. Let's look at an example like here it shows hybrid inheritance, class A, class B, class C, class D. Here you can see all kind of inheritance here. For example, class A and B there is a single inheritance, class A, B, D there is a multi-level inheritance, and class A, B and C there is a hierarchical inheritance. So hybrid is something like similar to this one. It is a combination of any kind of combination of single or multi-level or hierarchical. Okay. Now look at the the fourth type of multiple inheritance. This is very important. Having a knowledge on multiple inheritance is very much required in to clear that interviews. For example, here it shows a multiple inheritance where class C is having extended the property of class A and B. So to achieve this in Java does not allow you to extend multiple classes like father, comma, mother. This is not allowed in Java, and the only way you can bring in multiple inheritance is through interfaces. For example, suppose there is an interface called swim and there is another interface called run and swim. So look at this combination, like child extends father and implements swim and run. That means if any methods in interface you cannot have you can only have abstract methods. Concrete methods are not allowed in interface. So what happens when you implement it? The child needs to specifically implement that abstract methods in your child to define the behavior of child in your child class itself. So that is the reason Java allows only multiple inheritance through interfaces. And just think what if Java allows multiple inheritance through extents. Let's see one simple example. Let's assume child is extending father and mother classes. Both is having complexion property, and mother's property is brown and the father's complexion is fair, and it is showing error because it is not allowed in Java. Just assume that it is allowed. Then what happens if I create a child object and I click on complexion? I mean print on the complexion. Then the compiler or Java will have, if it is allowed, then compiler will have a confusion which combination is to be printed, right? So that is the reason Java does not allow multiple inheritance. So Java does not allow multiple inheritance through extends keyword. Only way is like create interface and implement that behavior in your child class itself. Having said that, let's move to the next question. How do you implement multiple inheritance in Java? As we already discussed, it can be implemented using implements keyword, and we need to define the interfaces rather than a concrete class. The next question is, are constructors and initializers also inherited to subclass? Actually, no. The constructors and initializers are not inherited to subclasses. Let's consider an example. Here the same example, father and child, where child extends father. Father is having a constructor and it will print father constructed. Okay. Now just think, child is inherited the property of this constructor. Then in that, when I create a child object, I should be able to create, call the father constructor directly from this child object. But it is throwing error because this does not exist. So this shows that, the constructor is not yet inherited, isn't it? Now here you have to note one thing, like when you create a child object, this child object will automatically call father's when you create a child object, it will create an superclass object by using the super keyword. We cannot see it here, but it happens internally. Okay. Now when we create a father object, it will definitely call this father constructor, isn't it? Using new word that happens internally. So for example, when I create a new object in the main class, main method, what happens, like you can see here, I don't have any code in the child. The father is having a constructor that only prints father constructor. When I run this code, it will display a result like father constructed, because when create a child object, it calls the father super class father and by calling this constructor. So that will happen internally. So the code is something similar to like this. So this is the actual code runs behind it. So this part of code will be added by JDK itself, and this will give you the same result actually. So this has to be keep in mind. Now the next thing is initializers. So now look at this father class. I have added one static initializer and a instance initializer, and this initializer will print some log statements. And so is there a way to, if is this static and instance initializer is inherited to child? If that has been inherited, then I should be able to call this initializer from this child object itself. But here I cannot see any such a mechanism to call that initializer. So that means that, having said that, it cannot be inherited. This initializer cannot be inherited to the child class. But you have to keep in mind that when there is a initial static or object initializer, when you create an object of child, this automatically internally it will call the super method. That means father class also be initialized, and this father, when during the initialization of father class, it will print the static initializer. It will call the static method, initializer method, and also instance initializer method, and it will finally call the constructor. When we run this program, I am just declaring only the child object here, and I am running this program. You can see the static initializer of the father is being called first, then it goes to the instance initializer, then finally it has father constructor has been called. So this is the behavior. Please you have to keep these things in mind always. This is a very tricky question. Sometimes interviewer will ask this question. So let's move to the next question. Next question is, what if father and child have a field with the same identifier? So let's look at an example. Suppose father is having complexion and the child is also having the same property complexion, but the child's complexion is brown here and the father's is fair. What happens if I create a child object and print the complexion? You can see that it will be printed as brown, right? So that means when you having same property or field, having when you declare a same field in the child, this will be used for whatever field available for that child will be taken into consideration. Okay, so that happens. So having said that, let's move to the next topic. Next question is, how to restrict a member of parent from inheriting by his child? So the answer is using private keyword. Let's look at an example. Here father complexion is, I kept it as private, and the child is extending the father. When I try to create a new child object and print the complexion, you can see there is a comparison error because it is not able to access this father's private complexion, right? So this is how we can restrict or prevent parents members being inherited by its child. Let's move to the next question. Static members inherited to child class. That means static members, it can be static variables or static methods. Do you think that will be inherited to child class if there is any static members in the parent class? The answer is yes, but when there is a static keyword or static or final, private, anything, if they exist, they actually belongs to that particular class, and that it will be binded. The bonding will happen during the compile time. So static binding and dynamic binding, there are two kinds of binding. So all the static variables or members or methods will be binded to the class during that compile time. So even though, let's remove this child class is, let's say child is empty. So if we access child.complexion, it will print the complexion as fair, right? Now if I add the same static member variable here, then this complexion belongs to or attached to this child class, and if I change it to something brown, and when I compare and run it, this brown will be printed here. So that means it is actually inherited, but it is statically binded towards that particular class, and it during the compile time. So that's how it works actually. Now look at one more example for static methods. Look at this example. This father class is having a static method called print, and it will printed from father. Similarly, child is also having same method with the name print, and the signature is also same, and it will printed from child. Okay. Now when I call print method from this one, what will be printed? When I call child.print method, so this print will be called, and printed from child will be printed in the console. Similarly, so that means, let's look at one more example. Suppose I am deleting this one and I again running it. Now we can see parent printed from father has been printed even though child does not have that print method. So this print method, static method, is actually available in child. Okay. So that means anything in the father which is not private or final, or final, which is not private or final, will be available in the extended child's class, which is extended from the father. Now look at one more example. So this static actually belongs to or binded towards that particular class which is declared. It is not actually inheriting, but when it is extended the father, actually that static method which is binded in with this father class has been used here actually. And look at one more example. Suppose if you are actually inheriting this behavior, then if I add override annotation, you can see it is throwing an error, right? So that is because it is not has been overwritten. This method has not been overwritten. Now let me remove this static method from both this one, public void. Now you can see override is working. That means I have already overwritten it. So this shows that static methods are available but not actually inherit. I mean, it is inherited, but it is binded towards that class which is it has been declared. Having said that, let's move to the next topic. Now we quickly discuss some of the rules of method overriding in Java. Okay. Now first rule is private and final method cannot be overwritten. Let's take an example here. Let's use the same example. Father is having print method which is public void print. Okay. Now the rule is private and final method cannot be overwritten. What happens? I used at override method annotation here to understand whether it has been overwritten properly or not. Now if I change, you can see all the signature is same here. Now it is perfectly overwritten. Now if I change it to private, you can immediately see that override annotation has thrown error. That because it cannot be overwritten. Similarly, if I change it to final, again you can see it has thrown error. So final method cannot be overwritten. Okay. Now next rule, overriding method must have same argument list. Now this is print method is empty argument. If I change it to int I as added one more argument, it has thrown error. So that shows overriding method must have same argument list. Overriding method must have same return type or covariant return type. Let's say now it has void return. Now if I am giving a return type as int here in the overwritten method, now it will show error like print child class have print in father attempt to use incompatible return type. So this is not possible, right? Now or at least it should have a covariant return type. So what is this covariant return type? Covariant return type says, suppose the father print method in the father is returning a father object. Okay. Now the overridden method either can return a father object or subtype of father method can be returned. So that is one of the rules. Suppose if I return a father which is perfectly overridden, instead of returning a father, it does not make much sense if I'm returning a father object from the child. So we are expecting a child to be returned here, right? So in that case, if I change it to child, returning a child, this is also perfectly overridden. That is called covariant return type. Okay. Now overriding method cannot reduce the method visibility. Now this print method is having public. Now if I change it to protected, it is not allowed. Okay. Overriding method must not reduce the method visibility. Overriding method must not throw new or broader checked exception. Okay, let's see like this. Suppose suppose it does not have an exception thrown. Now it shows error. Let's change it to public. Now it is, it does not shows any error because we can see null point exception. It is not, there is no problem here because null point exception is not a checked exception. The rule is says you cannot throw a new or broader checked exceptions. Now if I change this null point exception to some checked exceptions like IO exception, now it will throw error saying that it is not possible. Okay. Now if I add this same throws here in print, then this perfectly overwritten and a broader checked exception cannot be thrown. Suppose if I am saying IO exception here and if I throws only exception which is something a super type of IO exception, so that is not allowed. Instead, if I change this one to exception and in the child class I am throwing IO exception, that is perfectly fine because it is kind of a subtype of exception, right? So this is one of the rules we need to consider. Going further, overriding method can increase access of overridden method. That means suppose if this is a protected print and I can override it with perfectly override with the public, but I cannot reduce the modifiers access visibility. This is not allowed, but I can increase the visibility by changing it to public, isn't it? Constructor cannot be overridden, which is already we discussed. Synchronous modifier has no effect on the rules of overriding. So these are the main rules which we need to always keep in our mind when we are overriding in Java. Let's move to the next topic. So the next topic is what if our class is implementing two interfaces and both these interfaces having same method with the same signature. Let's look at an example of interface walk and run. Our child class is implementing both walk and run and it is having a same method called move. So what happens if I suppose this, let's say if I am not implementing this method, it will ask me to implement the method, right? So it is a perfectly a valid scenario because interface is actually providing abstract methods. So as long as we are providing the implementation of this abstract method, the called class, maybe the main method, can directly main method can call this move method, right? And its implementations moving, isn't it? So this is a valid scenario. So the only catch is like, when we are having same method name in interfaces, when we implement it, we definitely give a implementation in our subclass, in our child class. As long as we are giving the implementation, it's a valid scenario. Let's move to the next question. Now look at the next question. What if we implement two interfaces and both declared both having a field variable with the same name? Okay, this scenario, let's look at one example here. For example, this walk interface is having a field variable of speed. When we talk about a interface field, it is by default it is public, static, final, isn't it? So by default, every field variables in interface will be declared as public static final. Similarly, in run also we are declaring a field variable called speed, which is both are same, and when we implement it, it does not show any error from here, but the problem comes when we start using that speed variable from the when we create our child object and start using the speed variable. It says, you can see there is an error stating reference to speed is ambiguous, both walk speed and run speed matches. So this is not this will not work. This kind of scenario will not work. So sometimes the interviewer will ask such a tricky questions. You have to keep that in mind. So this is the trick. Public static final string is that default access modifier for interface fields or variables. So there will be a confusion for child which variable needs to be referred. So that will show us a comparison error. Do you think a subclass instance method overrides a superclass static method? The answer is no. Let's look at an example here. Suppose superclass is having a protected static method here, and what happens if I try to override the same static method as an instance method in the child class? It shows method does not override method from its superclass, isn't it? It shows error. That is because child class, when child class extends the father, this static method is already part of this child class because it is extends the father. Even though the static belongs to father, the father child is extending the father, right? So that means this child class basically have this method already. And do you think a method with static variable and instance variable is allowed in the same class? No, that is not possible, right? That is the reason it does not allow. So class instance method overridden by when subclass instance method override a superclass static method. That is not a valid scenario. This question is just vice versa, reverse of the previous question. Subclass static method hides superclass instance method. That is also not a valid scenario because father is having instance method, but here I am having static method. When try to override it, it is not allowing because this method, when I extend the father, child is extended from the father, it is already having an instance method similar to this one will be inherited. It's not actually inheritance, but still it will be part of it. So that is the reason it does not allow, because the same method name with different static or instance is not allowed in the class. Having said that, let's move to the next question. Do you think a class can extend by itself in Java? That means a child class can extend the child itself? No, that is not allowed in Java. So the next question is when to override and when to overload. So the overload, right? So if we want to have this, for example, this print method, and we need to have a separate implementation for different input parameters, then we can, then we will go for overloading, right? Similarly, what is overriding? So we go for overriding when there is a better implementation. If you want to have a the class specific implementation or a better implementation or different implementation needs to be done, then we go for overriding. So that, like in inheritance, the child class will can override the parents methods. So that is the this is the scenarios where you go for overriding and overloading. Sometimes it is sometimes interviewer will ask how to prevent overriding. So the answer is there are two ways. Either you can go for private, that method or variable can be declared as private, so that cannot be overridden. Similarly, that final variables or methods cannot be overridden. So this is the two ways to prevent overriding in the child class. So Now, let's discuss this one. Do you think a superclass can access subclass members? For example, is this father, do you think this father can access, if there is something members in that child class? Actually, no, actually, if it is a, a static member, yeah, of course, the father can access something like child dot. Let me, child dot complexion. If it is static members, yeah, we can access from any class that static member can be accessed. But there is no such things called, just like a super keyword. We do not have, maybe child. That this kind of keyword is not available. So that is because hierarchical inheritance. Right? If father can be, there are multiple child class can be extended from the father, right? So that does not make much sense. So this is a no for superclass cannot access subclass members. Now there is some sometimes you will be asked how to prevent using overloading instead of overriding my mistake. Okay, so if you are developing a very large software, so then sometimes you do overloading it, expecting that you are overriding it. So eventually that will invite a lot of issues in your software. So it is a very good practice if you are overriding, add a at override method in your overridden just above overridden method. So that is very handy method, and you should be practiced doing it, and it will also improve that compiler can understand whether it is overridden. It will provide warning if there is any mistakes, and also it increases the readability. So this is the answer, like how to prevent mistake, how to prevent this overloading instead of overriding mistakes is adding using at override for all overridden methods. Having said that, I think it's time to conclude this video. I hope everyone has enjoyed this video, and people who are attending Java interviews or dreaming a new career in the world of Java, this video will help them to understand the basics and interview questions being asked in the inheritance topics. And I think you have got a very good grip on that term inheritance and what does it mean, and different tricks or different challenging things has been discussed over here. So I need your support to subscribe this channel, and if you like this video, do click on the like button and click on the bell icon for notifications, and put your comment in the comment box. I have a nice day. So thank you for your time. Bye bye.